Look at this tiny strip of water. It is just 33 kilometers wide, barely wider than a single city. But if one country shuts it, the price of almost everything you own goes up. No army invaded your country. No bomb landed on your city. And yet, right at this moment, this one narrow gap is draining the world economy. This is the Strait of Hormuz. Most people could not point to it on a map, but it quietly touches your life every day. First, find the Persian Gulf on a map. It is a giant pocket of ocean, surrounded by the richest oil nations on earth. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, the Emirates, all of that oil has to reach the open sea, but this pocket has only one way out. That single exit is the Strait of Hormuz. Iran sits on the northern side, Oman sits on the southern side, and squeezed between them runs the most important water on the planet. Think of it simply as a doorway the whole world must walk through. On a normal day, tankers line up nose to tail every single day without fail. Around 21 million barrels of oil pass through here. Stop and picture that for a second. That is 1/4 of all the oil shipped on Earth. 1 out of every 4 barrels in the world, and it is not only oil. A fifth of the world's natural gas flows through too, plus fertilizer that helps feed billions of people. Now here is the genuinely scary part. At its narrowest, the lane is only 3 kilometers wide. A captain can see both countries at once. One wrong move by anyone, and the entire highway clogs up. And these are not small boats. Each tanker is longer than a skyscraper, enough oil to power entire countries. For decades, this all worked quietly. Almost nobody ever thought about it, though a few analysts kept warning us. Iran had threatened to close it for years. This time the threat became terrifyingly real. Then came early 2026. In February, war suddenly broke out. The United States and Israel launched an air war against Iran. In the chaos, Iran's supreme leader was killed. Ali Khamenei suddenly gone. The country's hardliners seized control, and they were absolutely furious. They stared at the map and saw their ultimate weapon. If the world wants our oil to move, then the world has to come through us. The Revolutionary Guard gave one order. Nobody passes through Hormuz. First they boarded merchant ships, then they attacked passing tankers, and then came the unthinkable part. They laid sea mines across the strait, dozens of them, floating, waiting. A sea mine is endlessly patient. It does not care about any ceasefire, it just waits for a hole to touch it. Overnight, the busiest energy highway on Earth became a minefield nobody dared to cross, and clearing sea mines is slow, dangerous work. It can take weeks, even months. One missed mine can sink a giant ship. Here is where geography becomes your problem. Oil is the blood of the modern economy. Choke the artery and everything weakens. Oil is priced globally. It does not matter where you live. When a quarter of supply suddenly vanishes, buyers everywhere panic. They bid the price through the roof. Across the OPEC oil nations, production collapsed by more than 30%. The taps were still open, but the oil had nowhere to go. Gas stations felt it first, then the airlines felt it, then the truckers felt it, then, quietly, everyone else. Then came the second devastating blow. Iran struck Qatar directly. It destroyed much of Qatar's gas facility. Qatar is a true giant of natural gas. Engineers say repairs could take years. Gas prices in Europe spiked. Gas prices in Asia spiked too. And then they simply stayed high. Factories that run on cheap gas suddenly could not afford to run at all. Now you might be thinking, I do not buy oil, so why should I care? Because oil is hidden inside everything. It is in the diesel that trucks your food. It is in the plastic of your phone. It is in the fertilizer that grows your bread. When energy gets expensive, shipping freight gets expensive, and insurance for those ships explodes. Every one of those rising costs gets stitched into your weekly grocery bill. Bread because wheat needs fertilizer, electricity because many plants burn gas, even your online shopping. Slowly, the whole cost of living creeps up. This week, the World Bank gave its verdict. Global growth will slow to just 2.5%, the weakest since the COVID pandemic. A strait you had never even heard of is now in the same sentence as a pandemic. So why not just sail around it? This is where geography turns brutal. Remember, the Gulf is a sealed pocket. It has exactly one exit to the open sea, and that one exit is Hormuz. Yes, a few pipelines cross by land, but honestly, they are tiny. Together, they move only a fraction of the tankers. For the giant oil states of the Gulf, there is simply no plan B big enough. The World Bank expects Gulf economies to crash from 4% growth towards zero. Trillions of dollars of global trade, all hostage to a gap you could swim across. Some ships tried longer, safer routes, but detours cost far more fuel and time, and there are simply not enough ships. But here is the twist nobody expected. 5 weeks after a shaky ceasefire, the guns have mostly gone quiet. On paper, the strait is reopening. America and Iran are close to a deal. Economic relief for free-flowing oil. By all logic, it should be over. But the ships are still not coming back. Traffic is stuck at just 5%. So why on earth not? Because fear does not sign ceasefires. Ship owners still remember the mines. They will not gamble a $200 million tanker on a maybe. The shooting may have stopped, but the blockade lived on inside everyone's head. And that part is the one thing no treaty can fix. Insurance companies refuse to cover the route, and without insurance, no tanker sales. Trust once broken is slow to rebuild. So, what does Hormuz really teach us? Our modern world feels absolutely huge. It feels totally unstoppable, but it secretly runs through tiny choke points, narrow gaps we almost never think about. Hormuz, the Suez Canal, the Panama Canal, the Strait of Malacca. Pinch any single one of them, and the whole system shudders. If you ask me, the scariest part is not the war, it is how fragile our giant economy really is. One 33-kilometer gap shook the entire planet. History is full of these pinch points. Whoever controls them holds real power, and we lean on more of them than we admit. So here is my question for you. What other invisible choke points are quietly holding up your daily life? Subscribe right now, and let's map them one by one. If you learned something today, drop a like to help the channel. A single strait moved the price of everything. Next time we follow the thread even further. See you there.